check that out. That is a humongous amount of chocolate. Maybe I overdid it with the chocolate. No such thing. All right, here's the real test. It's chocolate suspended in a little bit of dough. It's perfection. Oh my God, so delicious. Welcome back to Tam. Today, we're making babka to feed a crowd. I have a beautiful babka recipe. It uses butter. It's got overnight waiting. It's amazing. It's like French patisserie meets babka. This one's also delicious, but it's much quicker. It's enough for a crowd. It's dairy-free. So this is the faster version you love just as much, but a different type of technique goes into it. So let's get started. Let's make babka to feed a crowd. We've got chocolate filling, we've got cinnamon filling, we've got a great crumb topping. Let's make some babka. Let's get on with making this super simple, super easy babka dough. It comes together like a dream. So what I have here is 7.5 cups flour. That's 930 grams. I have an additional cup in reserve. We're gonna keep on adding a bit as we go, but we may not need all of it. To my flour is 4¼ teaspoons of dry yeast. It's about 15 grams. Let's give that a good mix. And 1½ cups of granulated sugar. That's, no, big lie there. 3/4 cup, which is 150 grams. I got confused there, of sugar going in. So 7.5 cups flour, 4¼ teaspoons of dried yeast, and 3/4 cup of sugar. Those are my first few dry ingredients. I also have 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. If you're using table salt, just use 1 teaspoon, and that is in. Let's make a well in the center and add our wet ingredients to it. So I have here 1½ cups of oil. In we go, along with 1 3/4 cups of water, and 2 eggs and 2 egg yolks. Last ingredient, I'm so excited about this. Vanilla sugar. You know how you bought tons of this for Pesach and you have no idea what you're gonna do with it? 1 package, which is 1 tablespoon of vanilla sugar going in there. If you're not lucky enough to have this stuff left over from Pesach, you can use 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. We're gonna go in with a fork and give it all a mix. And I'm gonna keep on mixing until I have a dough, and I'm gonna do most of the work here in the bowl. So fork and just start mixing. My fork has done its job. Check out this like raggedy dough, which is perfect, because we're gonna go in with my favorite kitchen equipment ever, hands. All right, so I'm gonna flour my hands a bit and then start kneading this dough until I have a really nice and smooth mass. As you can see, it's really easy to work with. And as soon as it isn't super sticky anymore, I'm going to put it onto the kitchen counter and start working it that way. But as you can see, it's super easy. It shouldn't take more than about 5 minutes of kneading to get it nice and smooth. And this is my therapy for today. Very important to have some dough-based therapy right after Pesach. So I'm gonna keep on kneading, and then in about 5 minutes time, smooth dough, ready to rise. There we go. Our dough is gorgeous, smooth, ready. It didn't take very long at all. It was super easy to make. I'm gonna put it in my bowl and let it rise, covered for about 1.5 hours until it's doubled in size. While this guy rises, we're gonna make the chocolate filling. Again, super easy, super accessible, and using another leftover Pesach product. All right, rising time. Time to make the awesome, super easy chocolate filling. So bowl here, and let's get on with our ingredients. 2 cups, 400 grams of sugar going in there. Another one of my Pesach leftovers, chocolate pudding mix. So we're gonna put 1 packet of pudding mix in, and the starch in the pudding mix is gonna help us create this consistency that isn't liquid, that will actually stay in place when we spread it, along with 1 cup, which is 120 grams of cocoa powder. Let's mix all our dry ingredients, and then we'll go in with our wet ones, and our filling is done. Yes, all right. Let's give it all a mix, and we're going in with 1 cup of oil and half a cup of water, 1 egg, and we're mixing to the consistency, something like peanut butter. So I'm gonna mix carefully because I chose a bowl that was far too small, and very soon we will have a peanut butter-like consistency, and that's all down to the starch in the pudding mixture that will help everything kind of bind together. And that's why you need this stuff, the awesome instant chocolate pudding. It's one of those ubiquitous things that you find in like kosher aisles, at least here in the UK, and everyone's like, why? This is why. All right, my mix is already thickening up, and I was talking and not mixing, but by the time I am done rolling out the dough, the mixture will have thickened up even more. But here we go, chocolate mix ready to go. And now it's time to roll out the dough. Here is our stunning dough. This is one I made yesterday and let rise overnight in the fridge, but obviously you could do it out on the counter. It'll take about an hour and a half, but it really depends on the temperature in your kitchen. I needed to do a couple of test runs just to make sure our recipe worked. So here's one I made earlier. I am deflating it as I take it out of the bowl. I'm gonna flour my surface just a bit, and out we come. And we're gonna now divide this dough into 8 equal pieces. How exciting is that? We're gonna get 8 babkas out of this. So roll it out. I always find that the best way to try to get some equalish pieces going. And let's divide. So half and half again. I'll get 4, and then I'll do half again and get 8. And with all yeast doughs, especially challah dough, it likes resting in between each time you handle it. So I'm gonna cut them into their pieces, and then I'm going to let them rest just for about 5 minutes before I continue with the next step, which is rolling them out one at a time and filling. So divided into 8 pieces. I'll show you 8. Cling film rolling pin worked a dream, and it's not because this is a dream to work with, it's because the dough is super easy to roll out. And now we have our filling, and the filling, because we used oil and not butter, is never actually going to solidify the way butter when it cools does. So it's not as easy to spread as one would imagine. So what's gonna happen is it's gonna spread and kind of roll back on itself. And you can use your hands, which is what I'm gonna do, to spread it out evenly all over the dough. Ironically, you can use a rolling pin covered in cling film to actually roll this out smoothly. So we're gonna do that messy job. I'm actually gonna pat it down like so to make sure I get a full even coating of chocolate filling. It is oily, it is messy, it is actually a lot of fun. So I'm gonna keep on going until the whole surface is covered. All right, our surface is covered with chocolate, and too ironic, the cling film rolling pin was of huge assistance, as were my hands. And now I'm just gonna roll it up jelly roll style. And then we are going to make a horseshoe shape like so. and just twist it one end on top of the other. And then we have a twist going on into, let's choose a slightly bigger pan. It goes, and these guys are gonna rise for half an hour. Here's another one. And while they rise, we're gonna make a little bit of a crumb topping to go on top. So we've done half the dough with chocolate. The other half we're gonna do with a cinnamon sugar filling, which is my personal favorite. So what I have here is 2 cups of light brown sugar. To that I'm adding half a cup of plain flour, 6 teaspoons of freshly ground cinnamon. Why did I say that? I have no idea. Ground cinnamon. On the package, it says freshly ground, but how fresh could it be if I just opened up a packet, right? So let's give our dry ingredients a mix, and then we're gonna add our wet ingredients, which is 4 tablespoons of vegetable oil and 1 egg. So I'm gonna give this a good mix, break up the brown sugar that's all clumping together, and then add my wet ingredients. Our dry ingredient sugar mix is done. You can absolutely do this with dark brown sugar as well as light. To that, I'm adding 4 tablespoons of vegetable oil and 1 egg, and just give it all a mix. And our cinnamon sugar topping filling is done. And then we're gonna roll out some dough, fill it, and have yet more babkas to bake. It does not get much better than this. So once more, my cling film rolling pin has been a dream. I've spread out the cinnamon sugar mix, and now I am just rolling it up. I'm very excited about not finding my rolling pin and now having the new creation, the cling film rolling pin. All right, keep on rolling. Our babkas have risen. It's been about half an hour. We've got our chocolate ones, we've got our cinnamon ones, and I made a very simple crumb here with 2 cups flour, 1.5 cups sugar, and 3/4 of a cup margarine. Yes, this is where I couldn't avoid the margarine. If you have a vegan alternative, you could use that. And if you're making them dairy, absolutely use butter. It tastes so much better. A pinch of salt, and we're gonna distribute our crumb evenly on all the babkas. If you were just doing a cinnamon filling instead of chocolate half and cinnamon half, you could definitely add a tablespoon of sugar to your crumb. I would do it for a chocolate one as well, but we're keeping this plain. We're kind of like making sure everyone's happy. I don't know that everyone loves cinnamon quite as much as I do, but they do love crumbs. So I go over the top with this crumb, and it gets in every crevice. It's awesome. So this is going on everywhere, and I'm like clumping it together and then breaking it apart as I go. So you get big clumps and then little bits of crumb everywhere. These are gonna go into the oven, 180 degrees Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit, for about half an hour until they're puffy, golden, baked through, and your whole house smells like babka heaven. All right, so these guys are going into the oven, 30 minutes, and then babka. Our babkas are out of the oven. They are beautiful. I am so excited about this. And as promised, I have enough babka to feed a crowd. That's all that matters here. And it tastes amazing. I'm like out of control, excited about these babkas. And I'm so happy to share the recipe with you. Wishing everyone a wonderful Shabbat, a beautiful Shabbat, a restful Shabbat, wherever you are, whomever you're with, and enjoy babka. See you all soon. Shabbat Shalom.